Well, good morning, everybody, and thank you so much for tuning on in to our Valley News Now desk on this Thursday morning. We've got a pretty beautiful morning on our hands out there, looking awfully warm, but I do have some bad news. Isolated severe storm chance today. Right now, obviously, on that Red River Valley's Fair sky cam there, it's looking awfully beautiful, and we're going to get into what we're really looking at in just one second. But one more time, thank you so much for joining us here. My name is Alex Larson. So we're going to head on over to our website. I'm going to share my screen with you here so we can get a better idea of what we're looking at today weather-wise, what you can expect outside, okay? Sharing my screen with you here. Let's hop on over to the Valley News Live homepage. We're going to go over to the weather tab. And if you check that out, 67 in Fargo right now. Ooh, can drag the sun, huh? Anyways, we're going to be cloudy, mostly cloudy, isolated storms. That's going to roll in around that 3 o'clock hour. But check that out. Clears up for a little bit, and then around 6 o'clock dinner time today, then we're going to be seeing that throughout the night as well. You can see Friday afternoon, we're mostly sunny, westerly breeze, high in the 70s. Weekend, we are not going to warm up all that much. We're going to hop down even. We're going to be in those mid to upper 60s. So you can see Saturday, partly cloudy, feels like early fall. Uh-oh. Meteorologist Lisa Green had the flannel forecast today. I don't know about you, but I'm not ready to bust out the flannels just yet. Sunday, another fall-like day, sun and clouds, 66 Sunday. I can't believe that. You can see right now, so Thursday, we're going to hop up to 85 degrees. You can see that rain cloud there. We just talked about those isolated rain and thunderstorms. Friday, breezy. Saturday, breezy and cold in my book. Sunday, breezy and cold again in my book. Next week, looks like Monday, we start climbing back up, okay? So if you're not ready for fall, if you're anything like me, it's not over. Summer is not over yet. We still got a little bit of time. You can even see next weekend, 77, 78, looking pretty beautiful out there for next week. So if you're anything like me and you're scared of those 60s coming this weekend, don't fear. There is relief on the way in that realm. I'm going to move on to our news portion of this segment quickly. Breaking news out of Moorhead this morning. Fire crews responded to a small commercial fire early this morning. So crews were called for a report of a structure fire at Helgeson Meat Market. That's on 1st Avenue North in Moorhead around 2 a.m. You can see in this video here, fire crews, when they got there, they could see flames coming from the east side of the building. Officials say crews were able to put it out pretty quickly. And officials say the building was vacant. Nobody was hurt. Cause of that fire is under investigation. Damage estimate, is not quite yet available. But according to unconfirmed scanner traffic, what we heard this morning on the scanner, when crews got there, they could see flames coming from the doorway on the east side of the building. Crews were also called for a second alarm, requesting additional units to respond. We have reached out to Moorhead fire officials for more information. We'll be sure to update you as we learn more, but we know nobody was hurt. Fire's under investigation. Again, we do not have a damage estimate on that quite yet. And new for you this morning, prosecutors have charged the man who threatened bank employees with a bomb in Bismarck. That happened in downtown Bismarck yesterday. 51-year-old Robert Walsh is facing 2 felony counts of terrorizing with a dangerous weapon and threatening an adult victim. I'll pull up his mugshot for you here. According to court records, Walsh, who was wearing a backpack, walked into Bravera Bank on the corner of 4th Street and Rosser Avenue. He made a bomb threat to a bank employee. Affidavit states he told another employee he would detonate the bomb if, quote, you call the cops and they come in here and shoot me. Now, we've got more on this story over on our website, valleynewslive.com. You can go check that out, as well as your free VNL News app. You can get your information there as well. And Fargo Mayor Tim Mahoney is again saying the police chief needs to communicate better. This time, he's talking about with city commissioners. So if you were paying attention earlier this week, you know about that workstation, the remote workstation that Fargo police have planned for the inside of Shields on 45th Street. So Mahoney says, Mayor Mahoney, while he supports the plan itself, he's concerned about the way it was communicated to city commissioners. Mahoney says this has been in the works for about a year, but it was sprung on commissioners and put up for a vote at the meeting earlier this week. We'll hear from him right now.
We'll go back and talk about that and continue. That is part of plan after the issue we had with last communication of you have to communicate better to the public and to the commissioners.
And commissioners did approve that plan 3-2. Mahoney says the department did look at other locations as well. And he also added that a substation could be built near Fire Station 8. That's over on 33rd Street South. And I want to hop on over to Moorhead. I want to talk about Cass County. So Cass County Vector Control reports mosquito numbers are near all-time highs in this region. They're deciding what to do about it. That is a hot topic. That's in Moorhead. It's a hot topic over in Moorhead, the mosquitoes, okay? So the city ground sprayed hotspots in the area Tuesday night. City Council paused aerial spraying, saying there's been a mix of opinions on what people prefer. An owner of a local mosquito control company spoke with Valley News Live yesterday about their efforts in minimizing the spread of mosquitoes.
Right now, mosquitoes are hot, flies. And so anything that we can do to mitigate that and bring greater enjoyment to being outside, we definitely want to emphasize being able to do that.
And Cass County had their mounted trucks out spraying last night. That was in parts of rural Cass County. And it was a season to remember for the Horace High Hawks, who captured the first ever state championship last year. Now with the season kicking off, the Hawks are back on the field and ready for a new division and a new challenge. Let's hear from the Horace Hawks head coach here, okay?
Yeah, last year at the 2A level, it was really rewarding for us. The first couple years we were there, we didn't have a ton of success. And then as far as this year going up to 3A, we feel, good about it. This is where we always wanted to be. And so this is where we plan on staying. And I think that's just good for football in North Dakota in general.
So the Hawks are having their first glimpse into this season this Thursday as the JV and varsity teams kick off in some scrimmages against West Fargo High. Their regular season starts on Friday, August 29th. And this week marks the first high school football games of the season here in North Dakota. But the nation's most popular sport also comes with some risks that have also come into the spotlight in recent years. Valley News team Sydney Zatz spoke to those at Sanford Health to learn how starting the game young can impact people in the long haul. Let's take a listen.
Those at Sanford Health say young football players are more prone to injuries because they're still developing their muscles and ligaments. The main concern is head safety.
We're hearing about CTE in the NFL and those long-term effects. So it's what can we do to help limit the amount of brain injury or limit the amount of brain impact that we have at a younger age, and that starts with our youth. And so if we can start with the Guardian caps at a younger age, hopefully decrease the amount of force and hits that they take cumulatively over their entire career.
CTE, a progressive and degenerative brain disease linked to repeated head trauma. Sports medicine doctor Christopher Grenz says the younger you start playing, the more times you can hit your head.
So you're essentially just increasing the risk of having one of those damaging injuries or having multiple of those same injuries when you're playing for longer periods over years compared to playing for shorter periods of that high contact.
Because of the amount of collisions and physical contact that happens, he says football is the riskiest sport alongside hockey. But there are things players can do to minimize the risk.
Anytime you're going to go make a tackle or make contact, that you have your head up and that you're looking at either the chest or the back of that player. So you're seeing that jersey number either on the front or the back, and that you're not seeing your feet.
Your other risk is playing in the cold. The colder it is, the more time it takes for your body to warm up.
But then it also is less time that it takes of just standing still before everything tightens up and gets cold again. Then you immediately go back into play on the next play, and then a higher chance of either pulling one of those muscles or pulling one of those tendons or ligaments.
Overall, football is safe. Like any sport, there's always that minor risk.
When they're young, when they're 5 or 6, they're not the most coordinated yet, so it's just basically focusing on the fundamentals of the game. Then they're a little bit older, they can do a little bit more position specific stuff. But otherwise, a good alternative would be maybe considering flag football if they're at a very young age, just to help reduce that risk of those head injuries.
So that was Sydney Zatz reporting there. And as the football season ramps up here in the Valley, Valley News Team sports reporter McKenna Wright will be right there on the sidelines, bringing in all the coverage throughout the season. Moving on here, we're going to talk about bus safety as the school year ramps up. So we're going to talk about what you need to be looking out for here in the community, okay? As many kids are gearing up to go back to school, it's important for drivers on the road, students, and parents to know the proper safety precautions. So flashing lights mean the bus is stopped or has just stopped. Kids may cross the road from either direction, so all lanes of traffic must come to a complete stop. For any kids who are riding a bike to school, parents, you gotta know your kid's route of travel in case of an emergency.
So if something were to happen, you know where to go look for them. Making sure that they understand, both pedestrians and bike riders, not to cross the street unless we have a crosswalk. Jaywalking and crossing in places other than where there's a crosswalk is very not expected for drivers.
So Heck also mentioned that it's especially important for drivers to be aware of their surroundings for any kids who may be on their way to school or kids who are on the way home once the school day is done.
We all can get distracted in our minds about the meeting that's coming up or the to-do list or what we're making for dinner on the way home. But we need to be aware and alert, actively watching as we approach intersections. They might be blind to the sidewalk of what's coming.
So according to the North Dakota Highway Patrol, there is a new penalty that went into effect on August 1st. And it's now for anyone who passes a school bus when it comes to a stop. That's going to hit you with a $250 fine as well as 6 points on your license. So a lot to be mindful of there as we take on the school year to make sure all the kids in our community are staying safe. And I want to talk about some pretty exciting news as we finish out this stream. I want to talk about the Great Minnesota Get Together. So fairgrounds opened their doors this morning. Millions are expected to make their way to the fairgrounds, but things are looking a little different this year. So I got some things you need to know, okay? When it comes to parking, there are several lots you can use around the fairgrounds. Each of those are going to cost you about $25. New for you this year, parking in some parts of Falcon Heights, that'll run you $25. If you're trying to avoid the crowded lots but want to get a little closer, there's also the park and rides. There are 34 of them throughout the cities, and they're all free to ride. You can also take a bus to the fairgrounds, and several companies have routes from all corners of the metro, and that itself is only going to run you about $6. Not a bad deal there. Well, that's about all I got for you here on our Valley News Now desk on this Thursday morning. We got today and tomorrow left of the work week, so keep your spirits high. Remember, we got those isolated scattered storms that are going to roll in tonight. And remember, our First Alert Storm Team's got our weather app. Great reminder to download that so our First Alert Storm Team can keep you updated with everything you need to know as that weather rolls on in. Again, that's about all I got for you. I'm going to head on out.